Welcome to Thriving Tribesmen. My name is Kuri, your host, and I'm excited to be making this episode. Today, I'm going to be trying to break down a concept that I've been thinking about and really has made a difference to some of the clients as I was speaking to them. Because a lot of people, when they think about changing being a sexless relationship, and especially when they go out and get information, there's quite a lot of information out there that tells you about being an alpha and doing alpha things. And when I was speaking to these guys, I would hear them talk about this alpha stuff, and I would see where they got the information from and how it could help their sexless relationship. But they tried that, and then all of a sudden, it didn't work. And there's several reasons why it wouldn't work. Because when you think of an alpha, you have to redefine it as you see it. Because most people, when they think of an alpha, they think of Rambo, they think of Arnold Schwarzenegger acting as Terminator or something. Really strong guy beating up people in the movie. He's very loud. He's assertive. He's a leader, and he's doing all these things. And this is how we view alphas. So when you are in a relationship, or at least beginning a relationship, that could work. Especially when you're dating, showing that kind of dominance allows her to start seeing that you are assertive in terms of being assertive in leadership, and you're somebody who she can trust in terms of safety. So while those traits are pretty good to show initially, especially to capture the girl, for lack of a better term, the retention of the woman and retention of the spark will require something else. So I've been grappling with this, and I've been speaking to clients, and I was saying we need to redefine what alpha male is, and I just sort of kept it in because it was something that I understood, but I knew that we had to change the way we view it. And I was listening to something on Instagram, and this lady said, "Oh, there is a distinct difference between masculine and alpha male." And then she went through what she said. Now, I don't completely agree with what she was saying, but that's the thing that I needed in order to really define what's the difference. So I'm going to have a go at really give you my take on this. And this is just to give you that rethink in terms of how you approach things. Because I think a lot of guys, they go through this scenario of being in a sexless relationship, and they get this information about being alpha, that you have to be assertive, you have to be a leader, you have to be dominant, and all these things, while they're good to a certain extent, they're more destructive because, again, it's not congruent to who you are. What does that mean? It means that that's not your natural state as a person. So some people are, introverts. Maybe you were somebody who couldn't lead. Maybe you're somebody. So when it comes across, when you're trying to do this, it all comes across as you're trying too hard. And therefore, it becomes really weird to her, especially when she's looking at it. It's like, why are you being weird? So it doesn't work. Or sometimes it works for some time, but then over a period of time, it's not as potent because, again, that's not your natural state. So you'd get into this state of being an alpha, and then after a few things happen, or because of you regress to your normal self, your default self, and then got this seesaw thing where you have to become an alpha, and then things are working, and then as you get relaxed, everything goes back to shit. So you've got this sort of seesaw thing that might start happening. And this is probably where some of you guys are, who have already started taking action on some of the information that's out there, where people are telling you about being alpha, being dominant, being assertive, which is all information that is similar to what I'm going to be talking about, which is, you have to strive to be a masculine male. Now, when I heard masculine and people were talking about it as masculine versus femininity, there's all these words that they use, and there's all these definitions that they use. My own definition would be more that there's some alpha male traits that you would keep, but they should come from a certain perspective. So, for example, you are a leader because you're reliant on resilience, for example. So, and I've spoken about this on a previous podcast, that when you can build up resilience in your life, so the fact that you're sexless and you're unhappy, you become happy or find a way of becoming happy even though you're not having sex. That's resilience. And that is a quality of a leader. That when things are going to shit, you stay the course and you remain solid. Then you have to consider other bits like, compassion, empathy. You have to consider strategy. So long term, okay, this is where I am in terms of a sexless relationship. How can I navigate my way out of this without having to change who I am? So when things do change, they change for good, because I'm only enhancing me as a person rather than trying to change myself as a person. And as you think of this contrast to the alpha male stuff that's being put out there, this is a reason why a lot of guys have come from other courses and they've come to Reignited Men, and they've found it different. They've found it more impactful because we're not trying to change them. And when we say change behavior, we're only enhancing the behavior that you are already doing that she will find attractive. And it's a real mind shift, because when you think about it from that perspective, it makes it so much easier. The path to sexual success is so much easier. And again, one of the reasons why it makes it so much easier is that after doing the definition of the 5 profiles, which is going to be 6 because we're now working on a new one. So I'll make it a different episode about that one. But when you make the 5 profiles of women that cause sexless relationship, and then you insert the masculine traits, all of a sudden you can now understand where you stand within the sexless relationship and what's causing it, and the sort of behaviors that you have to enhance in order for things to start working. So this is why it becomes very powerful to start thinking from this perspective, because when you are focused on being an alpha male, dominant, all these other things that are surrounded when it comes to being an alpha male, it becomes triggering because all of a sudden you're not pushing the right buttons. Sometimes when you do push the buttons, a lot of it is more about you rather than being collaborative. Whereas when you're masculine, you really think about collaborative. Like, I'm willing to shortchange myself from a sexual standpoint, but I'm doing this temporarily for a long-term gain. And when you can start thinking that way, you can find that it's like similar to if somebody told you you have to dig a 200-foot hole, but you can find unlimited gold. Would you stop at 50 feet? Would you stop at 100 feet? You would stop when you find the gold. And this is why when most people, when they get into this situation where they're trying to fix it, because they do this sort of short burst of, I need to be an alpha, I need to do this, and they listen to all this information, it becomes something where you give up. It becomes very difficult because you get a result and then it goes, and it's now dependent on you to behave in a way that is not you. Whereas if you can enhance your masculine traits, things that you already have and you've already shown that you got, and essentially show them in a way that makes us see that you're a masculine male. And that's going to be the biggest shift when it comes to being in a sexless relationship to sexual success. So hopefully that gives you an idea on when it comes to the masculine versus alpha male and where you should stand with this. In fact, where I stand with this, it's up to you where you stand. You can decide where you want to stand with it. But this is how I'm thinking about it. And I just didn't have words to describe it the way I've described it right now. So hopefully that's impactful for you guys. Thank you very much for listening. See you soon. Take care.